Hello, everybody, and welcome to this session on scaling internships with international organizations and innovation hubs. My name is Louise Gallagher. I'm working with UNEP GRID-Geneva, which is a partnership between the UN Environment, the Swiss Federal Office of Environment, and the University of Geneva. For information and for relevance for today's session, I'm working with 4 of the interns from the Geneva Tsinghua Initiative program currently. And I have worked on that program as a workshop coordinator previously. And I may as well also add, I started my career as an intern here in Geneva back in 2006. So that's my role today, is to help bridge, I guess, the number of roles that we have when it comes to these internships here in International Geneva. So we are looking at the intersection of innovation and internships here, but of course it's relevant to anybody anywhere interested in internships and the international world. So we hope we find this a focus of interest. So this space of innovation and internships is so important. It's a chance for us to collaborate better in Geneva, try new things out quite often, and really get a good start on our careers. So this is the themes generally that we'll be covering today. So for housekeeping, just a quick technical note. Your microphones and cameras are automatically muted throughout the session. If you want to ask questions of the presenters, there's the Q&A function. So you can type your questions into the Q&A box and upvote those questions you also find most interesting. And we encourage you to chat with your fellow attendees using the chat feature also located at the right hand of your screen. So if you experience any technical issues, please describe the problem in the chat. A member of our support team will be happy to assist you. So with no further ado, I'm going to give you a very quick introduction to the panel. One-line bio, you're going to hear much more from each of them as they walk you through their experiences with internships and innovation here in Geneva. So we have Vladimir Stankovic. He's a program officer at the International Telecommunications Union, engaged with the World Summit on Information Society primarily, though I know you do many other things, Vladimir, in your role. We have Alexandra Mackey. She's a student on the Innovation and Human Development and Sustainability Master's Program at the University of Geneva and with the Geneva Tsinghua Initiative. We have Adriana Jacinto. She's a human rights officer. Dynamic Knowledge Lead, sounds very exciting. She's with the Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights here in Geneva. And we have Rasyidah Ibrahim, a student also with the Innovation and Human Development and Sustainability Masters, and also working under the Geneva Tsinghua Initiative. And we have Jean-Pierre Reymond. He's the head of the Office of Innovation Partnerships at the Permanent Mission of Switzerland, and is leading a very interesting and exciting initiative that is going to give you a beautiful perspective on what we're trying to do here in Geneva. So we're going to have 20 minutes for a session where the panelists are going to go one by one, describing their connection to this theme, this issue. I'm asking the panelists for just 3 minutes each. I'm being really tough here. No slides, because we have a very packed panel. So I'm going to invite you in a particular order, which the panelists are familiar with already. I hope you have your cheat sheet ready. So the questions, again, will be posted in the Q&A box. If you can upvote the ones that you find most interesting, that'll really help us figure out what are the right questions to ask this panel. So keep upvoting, or of course, add those questions that you're not seeing that you would like to be asked. So with no further ado, I'm going to invite Vladimir Stankovic to take it away. So Vladimir is really interesting. He was one of the early adopters and innovator in his own right for the internship program that is run by the Geneva Tsinghua Initiative. So Vladimir, I'll leave you your 3 minutes to explain your thoughts about this topic.
Thank you very much, Louise. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all of you attending this virtual session. My name is Vladimir and I work for ITU. As Louise mentioned, there is more than just working with the WSIS team. In ITU, WSIS stands for the World Summit on Information Society. I myself was an intern some 20 years ago when I started my career back in New York. And I also invite all in the audience to also discuss the innovation and how internships really have developed since then. We might say that scaling up internships between University of Geneva and the international organizations based in Geneva started with a collaboration with the WSIS Forum and the ITU, which coordinates the process. The innovation in our approach to the internship started with us signing this internship between the University of Geneva, also between the Geneva University and Tsinghua University initiative and ITU some 3 years ago. And since then, we have trained more than 30 master students. Right now, Louise, you mentioned we have 4 of the GTI students working with you. In the WSIS team, there are 10 GTI students currently interning at the WSIS team. I also invite all here in the audience to approach them directly and discuss their experience and with their hands-on approach during the WSIS forum that is ongoing currently. Not only that, they are actually even organizing some of the workshops at the WSIS forum. And this is exactly what I believe is the best example of what does it really mean to intern with the WSIS team in ITU. Not only organizing events, but moving ahead with what they have done so in their academic environment, moving it to the international environment. They continue to do a lot of research, analysis, but also more of outreach, using ICT tools such as social media for promotion, or virtual exhibitions, setting them up. But more than that, helping us, the coordinators, the secretariat of the WSIS forum in ITU, to have this full approach to what does it really mean to be a part of this international collaboration, international development. It is definitely something that is quite useful as an addition to their master program. So they're receiving their credits through this 3 months internship. They can also stay with us until 6 months. And we have been having an amazing stories, inspirational stories from those joining us from GTI. Just one thing to finish in my first introduction is some of my colleagues here in ITU were traveling to Tsinghua University pre-COVID times, and they met some of those interns who were a part of the WSIS team. And all of them are still inspired by that experience. And this really helped us also bridge out to the other students in Tsinghua University to also share their interest and join us. And more than ever, as I mentioned this year, we have 10 of GTI students with us, and we're very, very happy. And I'm here to tell you more about it. Thank you very much, Louise.
Thank you so much. Exactly on the button, we're scaling internships here. And so you're working with teams of interns, not just one single person at a time. I think that's a fantastic point for us to follow up on afterwards. I'd like to give the audience a chance to get to know everybody on the panel, and then we'll come back together for a group conversation after that. So Alex, I'm going to invite you to come on up and step up on the podium, virtual as it may be, and give us a little bit of your experience, particularly about the practical advantages of internships in a context of a competitive job market. I thought you'd have a lot to say about that.
Yes, well, thank you, Louise, and good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Alex, and I am just now finishing up my internship at Zoe Environment Network, which is a nonprofit organization here in Geneva, basically focusing on conducting research and making products that present environmental information in more creative formats, so they're easy to understand and very useful to their audiences. So during my internship, I mainly focused on research and analysis projects, focusing on climate adaptation strategies around the world, which was also a focus in my master program. And I worked on learning how this information can be produced not only in a traditional academic paper format, but also in ways that are appealing to a wide variety of viewers or readers, so that I can help make environmental information a little bit more digestible to those who didn't study this. So for me, this really transformed how I think about sustainability and this SDGs, because it shows how these topics aren't actually useful tools or frameworks if the people that we want to engage in them don't understand or see why they should care about them. So for me, this really helped me make that connection between the ideas and the innovations that we're discussing in my master program in Geneva, but how this actually translates to on-the-ground practices in the workforce. One of the benefits of interning at Zoe was that I was fully embedded into the organization from the start. So my supervisor and I discussed my strengths and my skills, and I was immediately placed onto several projects where they knew I could make a meaningful contribution right off the bat. Of course, we also talked about where I wanted to improve, and I had the chance to sit down with the staff and get some guidance on this. But what I really appreciated was that I was immediately taken seriously and given relevant assignments so I could actually hone the skills that I wanted to during my internship and make myself a more useful employee in my field for when I graduated. I think that internships have enormous potential, especially in the field of sustainability. Seeing how some of these concepts that we learn about in courses can actually look once they're applied in the workforce is a huge advantage to its students. And it's not just knowing, the potential impacts of climate change. It's what these mean for the communities who live in mountains or on the coasts, and how we can produce solutions that are actually going to be meaningful and reach the people there. And this isn't necessarily something that you can learn in the classroom. So it can also be really difficult to enter the workforce, especially right now. So the contacts that we're making at these internships are what can really make a difference for getting a job for many of the students too. At the same time, sustainability education has really taken off in the past few years. We have this whole generation of students who are getting up-to-date, in-depth knowledge on these subjects that do require new and innovative ways of looking at things. So I think we can also be very valuable to an organization by bringing these skills and new ideas into the workplace so we can be useful to them as well. At the end of the day, I think that we can really help each other, both interns and organizations. And I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I had with mine. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thanks, Alex. And also thanks to Zoe. It's a great organization, and it sounds like you're having a great experience there. We're going to move along quickly to Adriana, who is in her own right an innovator. She's working with a very new form of unit within the UN agencies here in Geneva, which is an innovation hub. And we've asked her to speak a little bit about that, and particularly the connection with internships within the hub and how that's functioning for you. So Adriana, I'd like to invite you to take the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Louise. Thank you, colleagues, and colleagues joining as well from all over the world. It's a real pleasure to be with you here today to talk about internships and also innovation. My name is Adriana Jacinto. I'm with the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. And as Louise mentioned, we have a couple of years ago, we've created something that we like to call, and we named a Light Up Innovation Engine. And the Light Up Engine is meant to be, and we're trying to make it function as such, a space that is light in its structure, so it's not very formal. It welcomes colleagues from across the office, both from our headquarters in Geneva, our office in New York, and our field presences. We have about 70 field presences around the world. And this is what we call a safe space for us to come up and discuss ideas, a sounding board, where we can mention to one another what are some of the things that we're trying out, how are they working for us, and looking at what lessons do we learn from that to see if we can replicate them elsewhere, or if we should simply give up on those and move on to something else. So that's, again, like, it's a very informal structure, and we get together on an as-needed basis. We don't have kind of like a strict calendar for our meetings. We have created a space on our Yammer platform where we exchange even articles that we read that we find interesting, ideas, projects, concepts that we're starting to work on. And it's been functioning very well. The reason why I'm associated with these, beyond my interest in innovation, is that I lead on the dynamic knowledge work, as Louise mentioned, and it is indeed exciting. And the connection is very strict between innovation and dynamic knowledge. We're learning as we go. We're bringing in the knowledge that we're acquiring from those innovative experiences into our work and into our next innovation. I wanted to say that for us, it's been also very innovative to follow the path of ITU. Vladimir has mentioned their experience. We've embarked on a similar one where we have identified in the Light Up Engine a number of projects that we wanted to suggest to colleagues. We went about our collaboration with the University of Geneva in this way. So with those 6 or so in every given year projects, we've invited colleagues, students from the masters to indicate which ones they would be interested in interning with us on. And we've experimented with this concept of teams of interns working with us on different projects. It's been an excellent experience, I think, for the interns as well, for us certainly, and with very concrete results. For example, last year we had a team of interns that worked on a study on a shift to e-learning in the organization, and the result from that was the adoption of a strategy for the organization. So that's a very concrete and important outcome. We had another team of interns that have worked with us on the development of an onboarding package, and we've launched that package now in February. So, you know, it's very dynamic and it's very concrete. And I'm going to stop there because I see that I'm beyond 20 seconds on my time here. Thank you very much.
You are all being extraordinarily well behaved. I appreciate it so much. We are right on time. But it's a wonderful introduction, Adriana. Thank you so much. And I'm excited to hear a little bit more in the general discussion. I'll take this opportunity to remind you to add your questions to the Q&A box. You're now getting a sense of what these panelists can do and can talk about. So please don't hesitate to add more questions into the Q&A box, which looks empty to me on my side here. While you're doing that, I'm going to invite Rasyidah to come along and step up to the virtual podium and give us your story. You've had a particularly interesting personal experience, I feel, in this last year, this tough year for internships at distance, and looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that.
Hi, thank you so much, Louise. Welcome everyone to this session. I'm very glad to be here as well. So my name is Rasyidah and I'm from the GTI dual degree program at the University of Geneva, just like Alex. I'm a final year student and I recently completed my internship at the International Trade Center. What I wanted to share with you today was my personal experience doing a remote internship and actually securing that internship during a very difficult time when there was a hiring freeze at the UN because of COVID. Everything just stopped. So I do think that this could be an interesting example, not only UN organizations, but any other organization who wishes to employ interns and for remote work. So instead of having an official agreement, we found like another way to for me to be hired. Instead of being an intern, actually I was called a graduate student innovator, and it was really interesting for me because I was able to apply all the tools that I learned, like from the innovation workshop, which Louise was heading, design thinking systems into my innovatorship at the ITC, where I was tasked with creating a new project whereby I had to bridge the gap between education and the real workforce for Somali refugees in Dadaab in Kenya. So that camp has been there for over 30 years, and the refugees there aren't allowed to leave the camp. So ITC was the first more private sector-led initiative, humanitarian development initiative to enter into that space. And basically they try to help people help themselves, and they teach them how to be online freelancers. So it was quite interesting because I was organizing remote internships for these refugees. And I think it could have interesting implications for the UN in terms of reform as well, and how perhaps we could open up the doors more towards other students and other people who wish to intern at the UN. And previously it would be very difficult, not only because it's very competitive, but also to live and to work in the city in Geneva, where we are now, is also very expensive. So I totally agree with what Alex said. It's very useful and important for you to make contacts and to help you in your job search. And I'm going to end very soon. Yes, so if you're looking for internships or vice versa, if you're a company that's looking for an intern, I think you're in the right place, because this is like a good space for this to happen. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. And the questions are starting to pour in now. I'm going to ask Jean-Pierre perhaps to speak directly, and then we're going to open it up and get a bit looser for the exchange around the questions afterwards. So Jean-Pierre, can I invite you to speak, please?
Sure, with great pleasure. Thank you very much, Louise, and good morning or good evening, good afternoon all over the world. It's really great to be in such a beautiful company. First of all, as a host country, I would like to say that I'm really delighted to hear all the positive experience and the good advertisement you make for Geneva, even for free. So first of all, really, thank you very much. Now, a few words on our internship and what is 2050 Today initiative. It's a very new initiative that has been launched here in International Geneva by the Swiss mission with a group of international organization and permanent mission. And the main aim is to reduce CO2 emissions. So you'd like to say CO2 emissions, I mean, it's really little for a permanent mission or even international organization. But in fact, it's not true. And the amount we emit is quite important, not in absolute terms, but in what nature can absorb. So just to give you a flavor of what we have done, we have measured our CO2 emission here within International Geneva for 2019. And for the participating entities, more than 40, we discovered that we have emitted what is absorbed by 1 million cedar trees. Of course, we don't have all these cedar trees. So you imagine the damage we do, and you multiply it by a billion, and you see where we stand in terms of climate action. So climate action is really needed. That's why we have launched 2050 Today, that is intended really to reduce emission and to measure it every year. So it's for all International Geneva entities. It can be replicated everywhere. And the main aim is to work collectively, because if you work on your own, you are in a very difficult situation because you imagine you can't do that much. But if you scale up and you really try to benefit from each other and be consistent, we hope we can make a difference. So it's a message for all. It's not just for International Geneva. Now, this initiative offers the possibility of new kind of internship, because we work as a community, so we work as a coalition, be it international organization, be it permanent missions, be it civil society entities. And we work all with the same aim, to implement climate action. So for internship, it's quite interesting because it offers the possibility to work at several entities at the same time, to exchange with all of them. So it's quite a novelty. You are not just in one, but you can be in a group of more than 40 or 50 entities. So you have a lot of possibility for exchange. And an additional element, and it's very much focused on what we are looking today, I mean, innovation. I mean, we have to be realistic. We don't have the answers for the climate challenge we face. We just don't have them. We have to reinvent the work. We have to reinvent the way we live. So that's why innovation is essential, because we have to be creative. So the creativity of interns is really required. We have to provide also kind of a constructive disruption, where you reimagine what have been done and you say, let's see it differently, through a different angle. As Einstein mentioned, and closing by that quote, I mean, if you want to solve a problem, you don't have to use the same reasoning for the solution. Otherwise, you will never get the solution.
That's well said. And I'll do a little more advertising for you. Those internships are open right now, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw the terms of reference. So should we be encouraging people to apply in your program?
Absolutely. They are more than welcome. And the more we are, the better and the more efficient we'll do. So please do apply from wherever you are.
There we go. So that's great. And thanks so much for the questions that are starting to come in. So we're going to loosen up a tiny bit, but also try and get to, as Francois is calling it, the elephant in the room. So why don't more international organizations pay for internships if they're so great? And would anybody like to volunteer to take that question before I choose a victim? Thank you, Vladimir.
Sure. I'm sure that all other colleagues would love to join in responding to this. So we at the WSIS team and ITU are constantly working on making better incentives better environment for all the interns at ITU. Yes, these internships are unpaid, and most often they are 6 months duration. And it's very expensive to a lot of those who can afford to acquire internships. However, as I mentioned, I myself took this moment of being an intern a long time ago while I was finishing school, or just after I finished, just after I graduated. And at the same time, I had another full-time job. This is something that we definitely see as investment to all those young people who would like to get this window into what working for UN really means. We fully understand all the challenges, and perhaps what has just happened during the last 1 year with not having opportunity for physical internships, but all our internships at the moment are remote. And even though there are some challenges, related to the different time zones, we can discuss this later. I think this opportunity of that we were given really proved us that maybe there is a moment where we can at least discuss remote internships. Why is this an opportunity for many? Because traveling to Geneva, just being here for a short or a midterm period, it's not really possible for everyone out there. But with the use of ICTs, all these different networking conferencing tools, we might be able to work this out. I would like to mention that it is really important that internships at ITU or any other international organization in Geneva would not be so possible without the help of our colleagues from the Swiss mission, but also from those local universities and providing opportunities to their students to also use this opportunity while being in Geneva to intern and gain some experience with those programs, such as the one ITU is running together with the GTI students. Now, maybe there could be more detailed questions, and I know that some international organizations are offering paid internships, but this is really based on each an individual agency in Geneva or New York or Vienna. And this is something that we are aware of. We're working towards it. There are small incentives such as, maybe transportation paid or some catering paid while they're physically with us. We're working towards it. And I'm sure that this will continue to progress. It's just, a matter of, I would say, joint capacities. Often what we do here also is we work with some other colleagues to find some kind of an external budget, to find some opportunity to sponsor some of those colleagues, young colleagues who would like to join us as interns. And this also, I have to say, some countries and their funds availability of certain resources, not only from the national, but also international, foundations are also available, and I invite all those interested to look into it. There are opportunities out there. We can help, we can research together. Maybe we can set up a joint, group to discuss this further. And this is something that I guess this session is all about, how to further scale up and have these internships at the international organizations in Geneva being more inclusive.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. A lot of great ideas there. And certainly, I hope everybody can see it's not that we're ignoring that issue here. We're all well aware that this is something to be thought about. Adriana, you raised your hand earlier. Perhaps you'd like to join the conversation.
Thank you, Louise. Yes, I just wanted to add a few points to what Vladimir has already mentioned, which reflects pretty much what happens at the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. And that is to say that there is an ongoing conversation at the United Nations Secretariat at the moment, which has started a while ago, but is intensifying as we speak in relation to this element of the paid internships or unpaid internships, which is at the moment the situation. I think that there's more and more a move towards finding solutions in that direction. I'm afraid I can't say that that's already sorted out, but there are some innovative as well approaches into trying to find solutions for funding and to sponsor interns that especially those that perhaps are further away from Geneva in the case of the Geneva-based organizations, and to try to facilitate that. If I may, I saw that Jonas has a similar, let's say, a related question, which mentions a hybrid format, a possibility of a hybrid format. And I think that what, in fact, the pandemic has brought us is the opening of these doors. What has been, at least for the United Nations Secretariat, a very classic, let's say, type of internship, whereby an internship lasts for 3 months, renewable to 6, in an unpaid format on site. We have seen that actually remote internships can work, and that opens up opportunities for a broader group of interested students and recent graduates from all over the world to join the internship. I think that I would agree with Jonas that an ideal situation for both the entity and the student or the recent graduate would be to have a hybrid format, because of course, being in the office, being in the organization itself, in the country, it means a whole lot of things that we can't offer remotely, obviously. But a hybrid solution allows for a solution whereby perhaps the student doesn't have to make such a big investment for the internship and can still be exposed to the works of the organization, contribute to the work, to a specific program, and so on. And so that's an excellent solution that we are, I think, going to, I hope, embrace now with our own experience. So we're also learning together. I think that's been an interesting experience as well with the interns of the last year, is that we've been also learning to work in teams remotely on a full-time basis, and the input from the interns has been also in that sense very useful, and the experience has been a joint one. Thank you, Louise.
That's wonderful, thank you. I'm just going to add a little comment from Boris here that I saw. Don't forget that over hundreds of millions of students worldwide probably dream of doing an internship with the UN, and this distance or hybrid format perhaps helps to realize the dream for at least some of those. Jean-Pierre, can I invite you to contribute here?
Yes, with great pleasure. Just maybe a few words on as a host country. Our intention is always to provide the best framework available. As Vladimir has mentioned, and Adriana, of course, it's a decision by internationalization. So I think with the 2050 today, we have also opened up to permanent missions. And I think it's a new field, because the fact that in permanent mission can have interns from universities and so on, will also make possible to change somehow the framework. Because at the end of the day, you know that member states are the ones that foot the bill for internationalization. So if you change also the ways they can apprehend the internship, it will help also to change the framework in general. So I think it's really good if we can have more involvement of member states, open permanent missions. You know, permanent missions are by definition a diplomatic world, but to have some fresh air, to have new ideas, to have innovation, I think it's really needed to have a really efficient multilateral system. So let's bring some open new windows.
That's really lovely to hear, very refreshing. Rasyidah, I thought you might also have a comment to make here, given you had your experience as an intern a little bit remotely, but also your nature of your internship, if I had understood correctly, was bringing people from other sectors, and from the refugee camps in particular, into your program, and to help not just have interns that are students, but interns that have other types of life and lived experiences. Would you like to contribute here?
Yes, so in terms of scaling innovation within the internship, my entire internship was completely online, because we were in lockdown in Geneva, so everything was done online. And yes, to clarify, the proposal that I was working on was there were students within the Dadaab camp who had already completed training to be online freelancers. So they had learned skills like data entry. Some of them had learned web design, etc. And upon graduation, just like reflecting us, for example, me and Alex and many other students, they want to translate those skills into sustainable jobs and success on the gig market, but they were finding it hard to do. So I was tasked with creating a program to link the job market to them, which is why I was thinking of remote internships, quite similar to what I was doing. So in a way, I was modeling what I was proposing on the experiences that we had as part of the program during COVID and everything. So yeah, that was one example of how we scaled up.
It's a perfect example of that learning that Adriana mentioned, within the internships, becoming a model to help us do things differently afterwards. Alex, I thought you might be in a good position to answer one of the questions we have here from Tina. And so it's how to attract organizations to become interested in the work that students are already doing while studying. And the reason why I thought you might be great for this is that you have, of course, your internship thesis, which answers a question for the organization while you're studying and working for them at the same time. Would you care to comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I think it's a very relevant question right now, because one of the aspects that I think is so powerful about the internship that I did is that, it really did look at the work that I was doing in my master program and saw how this could be useful for the organization. So in this case, yes, I managed to write an entire internship thesis answering a question that was highly interesting for them, and kind of make some recommendations and next steps for the organization so that it could be useful. I think internships overall would be probably more beneficial both for the organization, but also for the intern. If everyone recognized, what power that, how much that the intern actually had to offer. We're coming in from a master's degree. We have plenty of applicable skills and ideas, and can definitely make valuable contributions. So I think that having organizations who recognize this and who can see how we can engage with them a little bit more heavily, it's very important. And I think on both ends as well. And that's one of the reasons that I think that mine went so well, is because of this factor.
Full disclosure, I'm the internship thesis supervisor for Alex, but I will say I'm also going to take a little privilege here and remark that I have seen interns and students come into the program and into the city who are so well qualified. They have had careers already, they're coming back to reshape they're a new pathway for themselves. And I do really think that there's a real skill set there, a real set of capabilities. And Jean-Pierre, I saw that in your internship terms of references. You're looking for good people with good experiences to come and join. I think it's a recognition of the skill set of the younger generation sometimes that we can also value and recognize in these programs. Do you want to say anything about the competencies that you are looking for in particular? And you just seem to be looking for superstars, but they're out there. I really believe that.
Yes, maybe a few words. First of all, we are looking for people that are really motivated for what they do. Because, out of motivation, you can make miracles. So competencies is, of course, an essential part, but motivation is paramount. Second, I think being in international Geneva, it's a very special experience, because somehow you work for the laboratory of the world, not only in terms of multilateral activity, but we shape what will be the world tomorrow here in Geneva. Maybe we don't realize it, but whatever we are able to agree on will make the standard for tomorrow. So I think it's quite important to be part of this positive energy, and to shape it in a way that it will not be a copy of the past world. It will be fit for everyone. Leaving no one behind is a beautiful slogan, but to implement it is quite a different story. So I think to be part of this movement, to be part of the UN, where there is no discrimination by definition, is something really extraordinary. And I am convinced that having this experience here in Geneva, being able to bring forward your competencies and to bring new ideas, innovation is really positive for all of us on all sides.
Now that it's a special place. I'm not just saying that because you're on the call. I've fallen in love with the city since I came here way back in 2006. Vladimir, did I see your hand go up, and would you like to add something to the conversation at this point?
Yes, I would like to first reflect on what Jean-Pierre mentioned. It is really something of a unique opportunity to intern with the international organization here in Geneva, and it always pays off. So I'm now talking to those who can intern with us and who are. Not only that they should be, ready to learn, but need to also be proactive. A lot of times, with the capacity that we have, which is already 100%, I really dedicate more than 100% to work with interns, to train them, to really be a mentor, to go out and be available for any questions they have. This is exactly why we at ITU or WSIS team are proud to, not only have them shadow us, but to give them hands-on approach training, so that they are sharpening their existing skills, or they are acquiring new ones. Those that once they gain, they can provide and offer to their future employer. Moreover than that, it's really something that they should use their time so proactively that they understand what exactly do they want to do with it in the future in their academic or professional career. Second thing I would like to add to what Alex mentioned. We are constantly innovative. Youth has been engaged with ITU for many years in different aspects, in different forums. We are offering the platform for youth around the world to use it to discuss international collaboration, use of ICTs. Technologies in this case are at least something that they should definitely share their voice more and share and help us shape their future more. And also, it could be something that we can reach out to their academic supervisors or to schools. So now moving back to the ball to Francois, if he's listening, it's we need we do a lot of stuff. It's a lot of products and services that we produce on a daily basis, and perhaps we could get some help and really get those students from universities to understand this better by following this process. Communicating about it, contributing to it. I mean, WSIS Forum itself is proud to be a fully inclusive platform. Everyone can join, participate, free of charge. It's been remote participation at WSIS Forum since its beginning in 2009. You could be there, you could share your voice, you could contribute to it. And this is another opportunity for all young people out there to really, stand next to a minister and discuss a particular issue. And this is how they will be known about their capacities, their work, their ideas. So there are options. Schools can also, universities can also help students by, finding a particular way of how they can help their students get credits and also collaborate with an international organization without having a particular internship. So there could be other ways of providing opportunities for students, young professionals to really get more engaged. Another thing I wanted to mention, and this is something I'd like to thank back to those we work with Francois, with Susanna, innovation that we started is to try to work more closely with academic supervisors of those who are interning with us. Altogether, we are shaping the work plan of their internship, which should benefit their final master thesis. So it's not only that it's backed up by theory, but also by practical resources and practical experience. So, this is something that I believe this scaling up internship really is all about. How can we work together with candidates, with those who are interested in internships, together with academic institutions and other international organizations to see what are the options, what are the best solutions. I'm sure that everyone in this room are trying to do their best. There are lots of other people who are already, I remember 15 years ago when I joined UN, in New York, it was a huge competition with people with PhDs to enter UN volunteering program. So it's a hugely competitive space. And I do believe we should all work into, really being open and inclusive to all. but there are other, professionals that are already having some working experience finally to join. And the internship should be really seen as a good opportunity for all of them to gain this so much in demand working experience before actually joining the real professional world.
That's great, thank you. So the director of the Geneva Tsinghua Initiative, Francois, he's telling you that he's taking note and listening well, Vladimir, in the chat box there. And you've also answered the question for Raki, which was about, is there other ways which we can get involved without going through maybe official internships? So attending a lot of the virtual forums, which are going on now, of course, at a scale like we have not seen before. That's always an option here. It does speak to maybe this need that Agus is mentioning in the question and answer about an internship hub or platform which connects the organizations and students. Right now, I know the Geneva Tsinghua program is doing a lot of that connective work within the city, but perhaps there are others. If so, if you know, please post in the chat box. Adriana, did I see your hand go up to add to the conversation here?
Yes, thank you, Louise. Yes, I just wanted to add a few elements. In fact, I mean, pretty much in line with what has been shared already. But just to highlight the importance of our work with academia, in fact, which is an essential element that this internship program and other internship programs bring to our organization and to our work. It is very important for us to bring on board, the latest thinking, the latest research, the various studies that are done in academia, which of course benefit from dedicated researchers and time and effort, which not always is possible for our organizations to have the same way. These partnerships are very, very important in that sense. On the other hand, I think that, and that's what a program like the one that the University of Geneva with the Tsinghua Initiative brings as well, there is a very hands-on element which actually is translating those concepts already into practice. But I think that also, like that merge with our work is one that then really makes such a richness in bringing together the concepts, the possible applications of those concepts or translation into practice of those concepts with the real work that we're trying to do. And so I just wanted to highlight that. And then to mention that and to reinforce what Vladimir was mentioning, for the wealth of elements that are made available not only in the last year, but now even more than ever with the web TV, and the Human Rights Council has never had all its sessions live and online as it has over the last year, and there are several things that are benefiting this exposure to the many rather than to the few. And I think that that's something that we've reinforced and that we will continue working on. Again, just going back to that element of the hybrid internships, I think that nothing takes away from, of course, like being on site. It's been said already, and I just want to mention once again that the richness of being in Geneva, of being able to walk into different international organizations, meet people everywhere, from the permanent missions as well, from the NGOs, from the associations, from the universities, from the international organizations, of course, is something that would never be replaced by an online environment. But I think that we're, in the realm of possibilities. I think that the experience online is one that can offer a lot of richness as well, and that can, bring some of those elements, and we'll continue building on that. Thanks.
I think that's very well said. We're welcoming people here from over 3 continents today, and that's a pleasure in and of itself. So just to conclude this session, which has been wonderful, thank you already so much for all your contributions. I was just going to ask you in like one word what you think we should do to really make this productive crossover between internships and the international organizations and innovation even better again. Is there just one word? What's your feeling on how we get better? Rasyidah, can I ask you to maybe give us your word?
Yeah, sure. I was just thinking maybe try. Sorry. Yeah.
Try to even just give it a go.
Yeah, in the sense that like, don't be afraid on the UN side, like don't be afraid to trying out new forms of internships, hybrid or not. On the other side, for students who wish to intern, like don't be afraid to try. So meet in the middle, basically.
That's beautiful. Alex, can I ask you for your thoughts here?
Yes, I would say value.
Why? Expand there.
Yep, of course. So not only trying to, for the interns, really try to understand your value and what you can offer to an organization, but I also challenge the organizations to really turn it around and look at the value that they're offering their interns as well.
That sounds smart and strategic. Thank you. Adriana, can I ask you for your thoughts here?
I think I would go for 2 words, and that would be maybe a dynamic communication amongst all of us. I've benefited certainly from, communicating not only with the promoters and coordinators of the internship program at the university, but also from learning from colleagues such as Vladimir's experience and others about what they are experimenting and what their experience is, and certainly from communicating with the interns themselves as to what their experience is, are and what's coming next, and what can be useful for them, how can we make it better, and kind of like make this circular learning one that benefits interns, institutions, academia, and this environment altogether. Thank you.
Thank you. I love the intention. Vladimir, what's your word?
Thank you. Difficult to say in 2 words, but probably probably can't say more than what Adriana mentioned. This dynamic communication that has to be both, two-sided. We want to hear more. We often, offer opportunities, as I just mentioned some of them, and this is not the only thing, but I don't see a lot of interest into taking some of these opportunities. Reach out to us. Let us know you want to contribute. Let us know you want to learn. Let us know what you want. And we will try to see how we can best give back. I also invite universities here in Geneva to open up to those young people who are not their students only, who could be their portal and bridges to the international organizations. You have the capacity. Your own students can be kind of fellows to those outside there, and maybe they can also help in. So, if you want to do something, you make sure that you do everything possible to get it before you, quit. And this is something that I would probably like to invite all those in our audience.
I'm hearing let's connect.
If you want to join us, let us know and we'll see how.
Let's connect. I think that's what it, and Jean-Pierre, last word to yourself.
Yes, maybe my word would be a channel. I think we should continue to channel ideas, to channel people, to channel energy. And in my view, we should really continue to build up. I have seen in the questions that we should have a kind of platform or hub to somehow to make much easier for both sides to looking for students on one side, to looking for internship possibilities on the other side. I encourage really the Geneva University maybe to be in touch with the UN, to be in touch with the canton they are part of, to be in touch with the city, to create this framework. And on the side of Swiss Mission, we really try to help. I think it would be something fantastic and a very useful tool for all of us.
It's a wonderful end to a wonderful session. Thank you so much to everybody on the panel today, and to those of you at home watching. Thank you to the Trialogue partners. It's been a really great opportunity to come together and even connect with each other today. So I appreciate that very much. And thanks, of course, to the participants for tuning in. I can't believe how many people we've had, 66 people today at the top, I understand. So thanks to everybody. Bonne continuation, like a good continuation of your day. And I hope to see you all in person and live sometime soon in the city. Take care, everybody.